Tuesday. Welcome everyone to Tuesday, 5 questions at 5:05. Today we have Omid, who is a very successful solar business owner. And Omid, welcome to our live stream.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Full disclosure, Omid is a client, but tell us, how long have you been in the solar business?
Funny enough, not that long. I've been in the industry for coming up on a year now. I've been in sales and marketing for the past 6 years, so got to basically take all those transferable skills and move them over to the solar industry.
Absolutely. And how we have solar seems to be exploding. We were just talking, the Senate just passed, I think, 67 or 167 billion more dollars to renewable energies. Why solar? Is it your passion? Is it just you thought it was a good idea?
So funny enough, for almost 5.5 years, I wrote off solar. Everyone told me that I'd be great in the solar industry, that I should give it a shot. And I just wrote it off mainly because of all the negative things that I heard. And funny enough, 5.5 years later, I ended up coming into the industry and finding out that all those things were just things that people made up. They're not things that were the truth, and realizing that solar in itself is a very simple concept. It's a very simple product, and it's one of the three things that every homeowner will have is electric that's going to be used. So is it going to come from the electric company, or is it going to come from the panels to your home? So that's the realization of how simple solar was for me and why it just makes sense for anyone and everyone that owns a home.
Awesome. Well, great. So we're going to go into our 5 questions. We try to keep it simple. And the point of this, like you and I talked about, isn't to bait people into saying something they didn't mean to say or anything nonsense. The whole idea is I found that when I was coming up in business and started to be successful, whenever I was facing an obstacle, I felt like I was the only one who'd ever possibly face this, which makes no sense whatsoever. But that's just how you feel when you're going through it. So I find success comes from discussion. And the more we talk to people who have overcome certain obstructions, because they're inevitable, I think it helps people to learn how to overcome them and especially realize they just are not the only one. So our first question, right out of the gate, what would people be most surprised to know about you?
So funny enough, we were not even an hour and a half ago discussing this in my office. What people are surprised to know about me, in all honesty, is going to be that I am terrified of public speaking. I've hated it for the longest time. I've ran thousands of meetings now. I've talked to probably hundreds of thousands of people, if we count it all up. And at the end of the day, I dislike it. I don't enjoy it, but I found that it's a very successful skill to have, and that is what it is. It's a skill. It's not something that takes much to do. It's just repetition and practice and getting in front of people and having conversations over and over and getting to the point where you're able to master conversation. So yeah, to this day, I mean, the meetings I run, even hopping on this call, I had to have a little pep talk with myself. So it still scares me to this day, but yeah.
Well, it's funny considering, being in a sales-centric industry.
Correct, yeah.
So the first time I was asked to run a meeting in front of, 15 or 20 people, I don't know what happened, but apparently I went really pale. And people are like, "Are you okay? Do you need a glass of water? You're going to die." And I think that my biggest audience now is 10,000. And it's just funny how you can go from, I can't possibly do this, to, well, I can do it every day if I need to. And it is an important skill, I think. I think it's very important.
Yeah, and it's funny, I was just reading it, not even earlier today, just Googling it to see if it was still in the top 5. It's actually America's #1 most feared thing, public speaking. So it's a skill that, once mastered, it can be very useful to be able to help in any sense of business.
I don't know if you ever watched Jerry Seinfeld, but that's one of his bits. He's like, Number 1, that means if you're at a funeral, you'd rather be dead than giving the eulogy.
Yep.
Which makes no sense. But
it doesn't.
That's why it's funny.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Number 2, what are some of the most difficult hurdles you've had to overcome?
My negative self-talk. So I've battled with this forever because I've always thought, hey, what I'm doing is not good enough. And that's really helped me to get to where I'm at today. But it took a while to be able to really train myself to take that actual self-talk and say, hey, I'm not doing good enough, to, hey, I can do this better. Flipping that actual thought process to say, hey, I'm able to make good out of the situation. And I've always been my own biggest critic. I feel like everyone is. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to believing in yourself and the people that are around you, and knowing that they have your back, whether the decision's right, wrong, or in between. So,
Yeah, it's almost like giving yourself permission to make mistakes.
yeah, it takes a little while, but I mean, once you get to that point of just believing in the decisions that you make, it really is a game changer. You'll get to the point where you're able to just make the decision, trusting in blind faith, basically, hoping that it works. And then over time, you look back and say, hey, this worked, this didn't. And just having that support staff is huge. So,
Absolutely. And, one of the things I was looking at is like, it's not like there's a bad decision. There's a decision that was made that didn't work, but it led to another decision. And now we know not what to decide this time. So it gives you experience.
yep.
That's good. And it's funny. So I read a lot about how the brain works, and the negative self-talk thing is really big because the only person that your brain listens to is you. So you can be the
100%.
only person talking negative, and that's the only person that your subconscious listens to. And your subconscious is working 24/7. So if you don't get that thing wrangled in, it's going to tear you down.
100%. I think I was reading it in Michael Sessions' book, funny enough, The Handbook to You. And just that whole conversation of just having that paradigm shift and just changing the way you make decisions based on what you've learned in the past is going to help you, obviously, in the future. But just having that moment of, hey, this is my paradigm and it's shifting to this result will come out of it. So
That's good. No, I like that. And
yeah.
I mean, I don't think people realize how detrimental it is to themselves. And I tell my kids all the time, like, don't say that about yourself. Like if they make a mistake, oh, I can't believe I did that, I'm so dumb. No, you're not. And don't say that to yourself because you're not. And I
For
think
sure.
we just pick up. We don't even realize how detrimental it is.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, I like that. All right, number 3. What's your why for success, and has it changed from when you started? Meaning, what drives you? What makes you need to succeed?
For sure. I'll start with the second part of that question. Has it changed? Yeah, the second part, has it changed from when I first started? It took me a good 2 years to figure out realistically why I was doing what I was doing. And at first, it was just blind faith and the support staff that was around me, and my trainers and my coaches, my mentors. And after about 2 years, I kind of had that moment of, why am I doing this? And first part of my career, it was all for the wrong reasons. I was chasing the titles and the promotions and the accolades, and it is fun, but at the end of the day, you look back and you say, hey, I achieved that. What more do I have from it? So from then till now, my biggest why now is just helping the people around me. So I know there are certain people, like in our office that we have here in Phoenix, that I personally want to coach, train, and develop, and get to them into the roles that they need to be in. And the other part of that is me helping them helps me hit my goals. So whether that's getting a certain amount of accounts sold, or just getting out and helping expand to other states, whatever that is, it's going to help me hit my personal goals. And that ties into the second part of it, which is family. For almost 5 years, I had worked almost 90 hours a week, which is awesome. And I ended up spending a lot of time focusing on my career, and then looking back and realizing I didn't spend any time with my family. So I kind of shifted my focus when I got back to Phoenix and spent a lot of time with family here, family in other states, being able to travel and just get to see a lot of people.
No, I think that's huge. And it is funny how it evolves over time. Once you have kids, it's even different.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have any kids yet, do you?
That's what they tell me.
It's weird. And it's funny, you're so busy, but then there's all these other things that you have to do, and suddenly you have time to do it. It's amazing what that portion of life, how it changes you. And that's good. It's so funny. I talk to people all the time. They're like, I want to win this or win that. But it's so funny in my career over 31 years of business, when I truly got successful, I wasn't getting any more rewards. I was giving them out.
Mm-hmm.
it's way more fun to give somebody like big promotions and money and everything else than it is to get it. More
I
fun.
think the moment that really clicked for me wasn't when I was the one giving the awards out. It was when I was watching the person that I trained give the awards out to the person down the road. So it's a lot of people say it's like kind of watching like your kids grow. I don't know what that's like because I don't have kids yet, but it's definitely a very satisfying feeling knowing you're helping people help other people, and it's just a domino effect down the line of people helping other people.
No, I think it's the greatest thing ever. And it's a habit. You know, I grew up in a home of a failed business owner, so I didn't realize it. But one of the things that is wired into my brain is that I feel like when I help people in business or I help business owners, then I'm helping the families. Because when you grow up in the home of a failed business owner, there's animosity, anger, subtext of, you know, little backhanded, not compliments, but just remarks, and it's just a lot of anger and I didn't enjoy that. So that's one of the things that sticks in my head is the more people I can help, the better the families are, the better the kids are, and all that kind of stuff. No, that's
For
great.
sure.
So, I mean, outside of business, what makes you happy? What hobbies do you have? What do you like to do?
So during the winter, even though I live in Phoenix, Arizona, we do love to go skiing and snowboarding. So we'll make a trip up north, normally 4 to 5 times a year to be able to get on the slopes. I've had that hobby since I was, I think, 3 years old. I have a photo of me and my dad teaching me how to ski. So that's always fun. Love going to the range. We were talking about going out and about and, you know, skeet shooting and going to the target range and just having fun with the guys is a lot of fun. And the biggest thing, realistically, is just hanging out with some of the team members here, just creating memories. And we'll do things like go out and go to like Dave and Buster's or go out and play volleyball on the weekends. And just having that team camaraderie is so huge. And it also adds to the fun things that we're able to do here. So,
Well, absolutely. I think building that bond's important. Where are your favorite ski and snowboarding places?
So I've been to Durango. Durango was okay. It was more of the trip time to get there and back that bothered me. I normally will go up to Snow Bowl and Flagstaff, and hopefully by the end of this year I'll make it out to Big Bear. So
I heard it's nice.
yeah, they got some nice long runs, and you get your money's worth for sure when you go. So
Absolutely. A friend of mine had a place in Park City, Utah.
Mhm.
A couple times. It's really nice up there.
Are you a skier or a snowboarder?
I've done both. I'm not good at either.
Okay.
I learned later. So the last time I went, it was just like not good. I'm like, I'm going to break something. So I'm like,
Okay.
I'm not doing this anymore. So, and my son, who's now 15, he's like doing double black diamonds and moguls. And he's like, Dad, come with me. I'm like, I can't. And if you
Yeah.
fall, I can't help you. And if I fall, you can't help me.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's skiing and snowboarding is more of trial and error for a long time until you get good at it.
Absolutely. Except when I miss a golf shot, it doesn't hurt.
That's true. That is true. I found that out too.
Yeah, I've brained myself on a snowboard a couple times where you're doing it, you catch the edge, and it just throws you down. And that
Yeah,
hurts. You just kind of lie there for a while, and you don't even care if somebody hits you. You're just like,
I know.
moving.
I've had a few falls like that where I just lay there for a couple minutes and I'm like, oh man, I hope no one's recording this.
Just go around me. I need a minute.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Fifth question. What are your favorite success habits, and what habits have you had to leave behind?
Favorite success habit. I believe in this quote and I've believed it for a while. Hard work beats talent when talent's not willing to work hard. I tell my guys all the time, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the tallest, I'm definitely not the best looking, but I'm the hardest worker in the room. And I think that beats anyone, no matter what, no matter how much skill someone has, how much knowledge someone has. If someone's willing to go outwork someone else, that beats anything in my book. Habits that I've left behind, more, I guess, habits that I picked up along the way. Planning has been huge. I know during COVID last year, we had some really good opportunity to learn from some really key people, and I learned how to be able to master Google and the whole calendar aspect, and being able to get invites to people, and basically managing down to almost the minute. So it's really helped out quite a bit, especially when there's a million things on someone's plate. So planning has been definitely something I've picked up, a bad habit that I've left behind. I've learned that in the morning, I'm pretty sure I learned this from 𝐓𝐻𝐃𝐘𝐘, no matter what happens, you get up when that alarm goes off. You don't wait a second. He actually taught me to put the alarm across the room, because if not, you're not going to get up.
Make it harder to get to. Well, and he's a savage. He gets up at 4:30 in the morning.
He does. I remember we were staying with him for a trip, and I would hear the alarm at 4:30, almost barely 5, and I'm like, is he getting up to go to the gym right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I don't get up that early, but I know that I know 𝐓𝐻𝐃𝐘 is a beast when it comes to getting up and getting things done in the morning.
No doubt about it. Yeah, and sleep is a weapon. I got to get the proper amount of sleep so I can run all day, because the days, I want to make sure if I'm going to get it done, I want to make sure I'm effective all day. I don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the big things he taught me was eliminating all the dead time you have. So I remember I was probably a year or two into business in general, and we had a one-on-one conversation and broke down my time frame. And he said, "Hey, you wake up at 7. I wake up at 5. I have 2 extra hours more than you do per day over an entire week. You're talking 12 hours. I have a half day of business more than you. And what can I accomplish? Well, you get to go to the gym in the morning. You get to do all these things even before I get up." So I remember that was huge, just hearing that and being able to use the time that we have effectively, because time is the one resource in business that does run out.
In life too.
Yeah, in life too. Yeah.
Can't get any more. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. Well, Steve Jobs did amazing things in his life, but he died way too young.
Correct. Yeah. That's why you got to use every moment the most effectively as you can, and making sure that you live every moment as if it were your last. And I truly believe that, because if I don't know if I'm going to be the person that wakes up in the morning, so why not make every moment I have here today the most effective I can, and impact as many people here that I can. So
yeah, nobody knows when it's the last time they're going to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Unfortunately, we don't get to know that time and day.
No, it's a heavy subject, but you don't know when,
Yeah.
You don't know when the last evening comes or morning or whatever. So the solar business is a booming business. You recommend it for other people?
I recommend it for anyone and everyone. I tell people nowadays, even if you think it doesn't make sense, even if you looked at the numbers, let's say a year ago, take a second look at it, because things change in the industry almost overnight, and something that might not have made sense a year ago or even 6 months ago could make perfect sense nowadays. So it's definitely something that's helping move our environmental footprint in the right direction, but also something that's going to help create lastable and sustainable energy for generations to come, not just something that's going to run out and have a deadline, so to speak.
No, totally. That's good. And it's good. It's not like you're like, wow, I'm in the coal business, because that's terrible. It really is you're able to be successful financially, help other people be successful financially, and help the environment. It's kind of a win-win-win.
It really is. And I tell people, no matter what situation you're in, or what area you live in, whether you're in the highest of incomes or the lowest of incomes, if you own a home, you pay for 3 bills. You're going to pay for some form of internet. You're going to pay for some form of utility, whether that's electric or gas. And you're going to pay for water. Those are necessities in 2021. And if they're already paying for it, why not be the one that owns the electricity that's being brought in? Why be the one that's renting it from the electric company? So I always think it's worth the conversation. Whether or not someone's going to make that decision that day is up to them. But the conversation definitely is worthwhile having, especially nowadays.
No, absolutely. I think you're right. And I think as the government is doing all the restructuring, which is sort of crazy, America's supposed to be the most advanced country, which
Correct.
Hard to debate that back and forth. But, our bridges should not be falling down. Our roads should be in great repair. Like certain basic things could be up top, up to the best possible.
Correct.
And I think it's just a good way to think of how can we protect the earth, because this is our home, the whole earth. And solar power is just one way to do it. And if you can make money while you're doing it, that's a beautiful thing. Nobody
It really is. It really is beautiful because, I mean, the big thing is I tell people it's not that we're selling solar. We're not out there even selling. We're just helping people out. If we're able to help 2 people out on a daily basis, if we're able to help out 200 people on a daily basis, whatever the number is, we are helping people out. And there are different variations of it, and people say it in different ways, but we are all in a people helping people business. So,
it's funny because I've heard that, in previous businesses, but I'm like, I agree with you. All business is people helping people, because nobody does business with people who don't want to help them.
correct. Yep. I'm in the business of people. That's what I tell people. If I'm in the business of solar, then I'm only concerned about solar, or if it's internet and cable or any product or service that's out there. I'm in the business of being able to genuinely help other people, because in turn I believe in karma, and I think that at the end of the day, everything is kind of intertwined. And if I do right by someone and I help one person out, then in turn someone will down the road help me. So
I couldn't agree more. I also had a discussion with somebody who's very successful years ago along those lines. It was like, the more people around me who do well and make money, then the better chance I have of doing well and making money.
correct.
And making money isn't evil. What you do with it depends on that a little bit. But, taking care of your family and being able to help people around you, it's not selfish.
For sure. It's funny that you say that. I remember a couple months ago, I was interviewing a girl for an entry-level position in our office, and I asked her what her biggest motivation is, and she really hesitated to say the word money or income. And I looked at her and I said, hey, money's not an evil word. All it is a resource to help you get whatever you need out of life. If that means I'm going to go donate money to a charity, or if I'm going to invest that into someone else's business, it's just a resource, and it shouldn't be looked at as a bad word.
No, I couldn't agree more. It's not like you're going to go in Starbucks and get a latte and take in a chicken and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
You got 2 eggs and a chicken. Yes.
yeah, it's just a form of currency. It's a way to exchange goods and services. That's it.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and it's not the root of all evil. The Catholic Church is the richest entity on the planet. So
Yeah. That says something. Yeah.
yeah, and they help people with it. So
They do. They really do. I mean, they do a lot of good in the world, and if they're the richest entity, I mean, that speaks volumes to what money can do.
absolutely. Well, Omid, I really appreciate you meeting with me today and
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. I know your goal by the end of the year is 20 locations.
Yep.
And how many are you at now?
Currently, we are at 6 different locations.
Well, that's awesome. It's nice that people are able to build their business and expand and grow and provide opportunities for people, because I've always said this, I've been saying this for 30 years. An expanding company has opportunity to provide. A small company shrinking does not have opportunity.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, great to see. Kick some butt. Have a great fall. We'll stay in touch so that we find out where you guys are at for the end of the year.
Yeah, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Omid. Have a great one.
All right, have a good one.